to your point, it is so interesting who spirit, God, universe chooses to bring these things through. Cause it's like so many of these people end up being like kind of shitty humans like,
Yeah.
that hurt others. And like, but for whatever reason, their channel was open and it came through them. And I'm thinking
Yeah.
of like Bikram yoga and some of these other
How about
yogi
John of
types.
God, dude? Like, you know,
Oh, geez, that's probably the
Jesus
worst of all.
Christ. I mean, he was clearly channeling this being that
Yeah.
could heal people. And then he's like this crazy, like, oh, dude.
Human, like farmer, baby
Yeah,
trafficker. Yeah.
totally. Dude. Like the worst shit you could possibly do.
The
And
darkest stuff. This guy that's like got all this light is like also on the other side of it a monster.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
that trips me out, man. It hits my innocence when I see that.
Yeah.
I'm like, how? How does God let that happen? That's so interesting to me.
Yeah. I go through this weird thing of like, I go, am I owning this ability enough?
Mm,
Because when I put out like 5 videos, dude. In my first 5 videos, I had like 12,000 subscribers. So
wow.
obviously, people were resonating with what I was saying, but yet I always like I don't put myself down, but I don't take credit for anything. And sometimes, like, man, maybe I should take more credit. And I
Mm,
think, dude, I think honestly, man, I'm afraid of being one of those people that
yeah.
that ego gets involved, and it's just like, dude, I don't want anything to do with that. Like, I think it's on the level, dude, where I think maybe something happened to me in another life
Yeah.
where I took myself too seriously and did some bad shit, or like, I don't know, like, I don't know,
You know
but
what's funny about that case is like you're the type of guy and others, right, who like would be great leaders or people maybe who are more in the public sphere influencing others with their energy. It's like your type is the one that the world needs, but doesn't want that, right? And then so
yeah,
because of that, the ones who have the inflated egos and that power would come in and corrupt them and they would turn into this completely other thing. They're the ones that say yes to that. But I feel like
yeah.
with the Aquarian age and where we're going, people like you, people like us, like kind of need to say yes to that because I don't think with the heart that you have and like some of these other people, like that just wouldn't happen because you're just so authentically you. And I think that corruption would never be able to get through. But I
I
don't know.
almost feel like I'm waiting on something, and at my age, dude, I'm sick of waiting. Like,
Mm,
um, not sick of waiting. Like, I'm gonna quit, but like, when's this shit gonna happen? You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like, I literally thought that what happened to me was going to happen to everybody,
mm,
like in 2012. Honestly, I really did. Like, my naiveness really thought that we were going to go through this major shift.
yeah,
People's hearts were going to open up. They would, um, in a way, embody their higher self, and all this shit would just stop. And this shit just keeps getting worse and worse. And I'm just like, I mean, my life's great, but it's like, when I look around, I'm just like, I don't know. I was just looking at that Titan, that submarine thing, that those
yeah.
5 people.
Mhm.
And I was just thinking, like, man, the week before they had like those 740 immigrants that died on that boat
Yeah,
and nobody gave a shit.
yeah,
And then these 5 rich people, like, and everybody's like, and I don't watch the news, but apparently the news was bombarded. Yeah, or people were bombarded with this Titan thing. And I was like, man, what a perfect metaphor for how fucked up everything is.
Yeah.
that the worst sea tragedy in the Mediterranean happened last week and
Mm.
nobody gives a shit. And then these 5 people, I don't know, it's kind of stupid. And then another thing is like, so as I'm like doing this, like I'm just doing not even research, but it just pops up in my feed, and I just like, start like watching it.
Uh-huh.
And then I immediately like it I guess my YouTube feed, leans towards conspiracies. And immediately it came up that like the Titanic wasn't even hit by an iceberg. It didn't run into an iceberg. And then they went into how Rockefeller, the Rothschilds, JP Morgan, all those
Yep.
guys were on the Titanic, and right before it took off, they got off.
Yeah.
And then the 3 richest people in the world die, and then they start the Federal Reserve. And I'm just like, dude, is anything we've ever been told real? like, oh my God.
Mostly not, I would
Yeah,
say.
mostly not, dude. Mostly not.
And it's such a mirror, right, of the collective consciousness and like what we care about. And I feel like we're that is shifting, but yeah, it's nice to be like it's showing not nice, but like it's just showing where the collective is still at. And yeah, yeah, it's that I went down the Titanic rabbit hole many years ago and I was like, holy shit. And
Did
just like
you
with everything else.
you came across that information?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's okay. So I'm glad it just wasn't like a couple bullshit TikTokers. Because yeah, I was like, dude, that's like, how can I go 56 years and not never hear that about? I mean, because as soon as you find out JP Morgan and Rothschild and those guys got off the ship, you're like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Right.
What, like this is not, yeah, this is so typical.
And the other thing too is that all the Epstein emails came out and this other big thing in the last like week or two. So people were saying that that submarine story was a big distraction away from it.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. And then the Epstein shit, like I don't understand. I was actually talking to my daughter this morning about basically how fucked up, like what makes a grown man want to have sex with a kid? Like
Mm,
I just like I just don't just boggles my mind. And with my view on consciousness, and that we never die. Um, yeah, my opinion is, dude, those guys got to go. Like, fuck those guys. Better
yeah.
luck next life, but I'm not sure that you can fix that.
Yeah. I mean, do you
Could
know,
be
I'm sure
wrong.
you know Paul Selig too, right?
Yeah, 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 of course.
So one of the things he said recently that really stuck with me, in one of the books and then like in interviews with the guides, they say what you damn damns you back, and what you put in the dark, you put yourself in with it. And I was like, man, that's so true. Cause like even the worst of the worst, right? Like the pedophiles, everybody damns them and puts them in the shadow. And it's like,
Totally.
how could they ever come back into the light, with that going on? So I said this to a friend recently. I'm like, man, when our consciousness elevates, however long from now, collectively enough, we'll probably see rehab centers for
Yep.
people that
Yep.
have that going on,
Yep.
where it's not like kill them, get rid of them,
Yep.
like start over, because they're just going to come back and do the same shit,
Yep.
and
Yeah,
so it's
I
going to create
agree with that.
society.
I agree with that. Totally.
It's hard to grasp though. And especially I don't have kids, you're how old's your daughter?
I got 17 and 15 and 11. Um,
3 girls. Nice.
actually, I got two girls, and my youngest is a boy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um, but
Full
yeah,
time.
no, I
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
myself um, dropping down into the 3D to judge. I actually kind of like it in a weird way. You
Yeah.
know, I do, because when you're always seeing the world from here,
Mm.
you have no perspective,
Yeah.
because your only answer can be maybe, or I don't know, because there's always reasons and things happening for everything that we're unaware of. And it kind of feels good to be like, you know what, fuck that dude. You know what I mean? Like every
For
once in a while,
sure.
just be like, you know, fuck that guy, man. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I'd say about Epstein. Fuck that guy.
yeah, fuck that guy, dude. Yeah.
Still think he's alive, but fuck that guy.
Yeah. I mean, we just don't know anything. It's crazy.
Mhm.
I mean, all I know is like, for some reason, I have these frequencies coming through me. For some reason, like, I don't know. Like, I just have this default that everything's perfect. And I feel like it kind of isolates me from wanting to make videos, because
Mm.
how do you say everything is unfolding perfectly when there is so much corruption and just vile shit happening around the world? But actually, it's perfect, dude. Like it really is.
Right.
But I'm not sure people want to hear that. I don't.
No, but
Maybe they
it
do.
it is an important one thing I'll say to that is it does feel like an important thing though to have conversations around that because like I'm sure you know Aaron Abke.
Hmm.
It's like I'm just firing off all these people's names because I'm a Virgo crazy ass researcher that just like takes in insane amounts of info. But
Yeah, I'm a Virgo too.
are you?
Yeah, yeah.
That makes a
Wait,
lot of sense. What
when's your
what
birthday?
September 16th.
Oh, you're a late one. Yeah,
Are you beginning of September?
I'm August 25th.
All right, so you're right at the
Right
beginning.
at the cusp. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I do find that my in my desire to educate myself on everything has went down.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know why. I think because I realized that I keep learning the same shit like over and over. Because really all the channelers basically are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I still dig it, but it's not like it was, dude. I used to spend hours every day just researching and reading and just consuming,
Yeah.
and I never knew why that I did that.
Mhm.
Um, I think there was a part of me that's like, one day you're going to need this information. Like one day you're going to need these little facts in this conversation 7 years from now to help somebody. But
Totally.
yeah, I think I'm like on a sabbatical from educating myself on things, because I really think that everything, we already know everything. And you just need to stop researching, and then that information is easier to access when you're not looking outside. But I mean, I didn't know inside that JP Morgan and Rothschild and the Rockefellers were on the Titanic. And but what did I really learn from that? Because I already knew everything was corrupt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I already
Yeah.
knew that the Federal Reserve is all
Validation.
like like
Yeah.
it didn't. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know.
But just take yeah, it's interesting info that like yeah, you know everything's corrupt, but like the little shades of that, different expressions of that is always kind of intriguing to
Yeah.
learn. Yeah. But the thing with Aaron Abke, I was gonna say, and I'm glad you said that because I think I needed to hear that because I think the overconsumption thing for me has been something that can be hard to turn off, and I want to source it from
Yeah. That's, and
you.
another thing with that, before you go back into Aaron Apke, is
Mhm.
all we have is the present moment.
Yeah,
And so if, like, I just remember that, like, a long, long time ago, it was like 20 years ago, I used to watch Alex Jones. And I would get so riled up watching him,
Mm.
and, like, I watched him, like, all the time, and I remember my wife was always like, "Why do you watch that shit?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm learning all this, like, it's like I'm learning how fucked up everything is, and it's giving me energy." And she's like, "Okay, good luck with that." You know what I mean? And and then I realized that, like, when you're constantly consuming that type of information, that lowers your frequency. It make it like, when everything you're researching is about only supports victimhood and that
Yes.
we're being controlled, then the world can only reflect that back to you. And as much as we feel like we are gaining from that, you know, it's fucking with our present moment frequency. And that's
It is.
so what's up with Aaron Apke? I like that guy.
And yeah, well, the just thing I was gonna say, it that helped me make sense of like what we were talking about was in terms of like everything's happening perfectly
Hmm.
and unfolding perfectly and divinely. Um, was that like everyone, if someone's operating from a level of consciousness in separation where they're seeing the other person as different or outside of them, then they're acting perfectly accordingly to that level of consciousness and playing out that separation beautifully.
Yep.
Like, of course they would do that because they see everyone else as separate. And
Yep.
yeah, there was something about that that landed, and I was like, that really helps me to like be able to cognitively like understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So did
everyone's just playing out perfectly where their consciousness is at.
it's just everything's perfect, dude. It's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
It's and I honestly believe that there's nothing happens to you unless on some level, well, we've attracted it and we've agreed upon having that experience from this level. You know what I mean? Like I kind of think of it like, when we choose this incarnation, there's a syllabus, and we're completely free when we get here, but you're gonna experience what your oversoul wanted you to experience. How you experience that is up to you, but you're going to experience that shit. And so
And that's, I did one of your group sessions during, I think it was during COVID, like sometime around then. And man, I was freaking like so stunned how, because I was like, how does this work? I just make a donation and then it just knows. Like I don't talk to him, I don't tell him who I like. How does it do this? And then right when I laid down at like 12 o'clock or whenever it was, like almost instantly, like right when the clock turned 12, it was like
yeah, it's crazy, dude.
so fascinating.
Absolutely crazy. I've seen so many things happen outside that happen outside of time and space with these frequencies that I did I've been doing this for 12 years, dude, and I've probably done as many sessions as most reconnective healing practitioners, and I can't get my mind around it. It's like it's so big, dude.
It
Like
is.
it's so big. Um, but yeah, it's hard for me to explain to people, like, my 3D consciousness gets frustrated explaining how to do this. I mean, I understand why there's confusion because it sounds crazy, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Thank God we're living at this point where there's enough people waking up, and like, can you imagine? Like, I know you're older than me, but like, can you imagine, having this level of consciousness in like, the 70s and the 80s? Like, that would have been dense. That would have been, or even,
Yeah.
earlier centuries, way longer than that. That would have been tough.
You one of my favorite channelers, Bashar, uh,
Mhm.
I'm sure you know who Pshar is. Um,
Yeah, I did a thing with him, last year
nice.
in
You
person.
had a
That was really
session with
cool.
him?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, dude. How was it?
Well, it was like a group he did it for a group of us at a retreat, and you could just sit in the chair and ask whatever questions. That was really cool.
Dude, is that the one that they made a videotape? Was it like in the desert or something? Like,
No, this one was in Wisconsin.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But
They were
anyway, he
making
said
these.
that because you have no idea how much your consciousness has expanded. He said if you went back to like 1500s, you would be glowing. He goes, I'm not kidding you. You would literally be glowing. And I was like, God damn. Like, but we just take it for granted because this is where we're at. And we don't
People would be trying
realize,
to kill you.
yeah, they would be trying to kill you. Yeah, totally. Totally, man. Yeah. No, I've always wanted to it's funny because there was twice I was like, okay, I'm getting a session with this dude. Um, and because he's it's only like $300 for like an
Mm.
hour. And dude, I just bought like a fucking $400 driver, for a new driver for my bike. So like it was like that would be worth it to me. And every time I was ready to do it, I couldn't think of any questions that I wanted to ask. Every
Mm.
single time I was like, I'll figure that out. That
Yeah.
like I just couldn't think of any questions
Yeah.
to ask him.
I was having that same thing, because I didn't even know he was gonna be there, and then I didn't know it was part of it, and then I was like, "Oh, shit," and they were like, "Come up with a question or a bunch of questions." And right when I did it, it dropped in, and I'll just share it with you because it was, like, the thing that I really wanted to know, and it was I sat in a chair and just feeling that energy was like, "Wow." Like, "Holy
Yeah,
shit,
yeah, 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 yeah,
interdimensional."
yeah,
And I was like, "Alright, I I know humanity is evolving. I know we're going into the Aquarian age. The golden era is coming in. Like I know that intuitively and mentally, but I really can't see how we overcome big pharma, the military industrial complex. It just seems like it has such a grip on humanity. Like, and it's such a just giant squid that has its tentacles just so entrenched. I'm like, I don't see how we're gonna do that. And so instantly he was like, "Well, you don't change anything. You can't change anything in the world."
yeah,
He's like, "The only thing you're doing is changing your own energy and your own consciousness, and then you shift into parallel realities that reflect that.
yeah,
That's all you're doing.
yeah.
You don't change anything
You
in the
never
world."
heal the world. Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
"Fuck,
I know,
okay."
dude. It's it's tough to get your mind around that concept. And just the idea of thinking that that's how flexible and how fluid this simulation is mind-blowing, dude.
It
Like,
really is. It's like that did you see that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I think I did. Asian lady,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't make it through that because I fell asleep because I fall asleep, like, all the time during movies.
Uh-huh.
But, I haven't finished it. Did it finish strong?
It finished, yeah, beautifully, I thought, but just like how she does the most random shit and then it just completely alters her timeline
Yeah,
to
yeah,
a whole different trajectory, like sticking gum under the table and like doing a karate kick that random person's gonna
totally.
make you be a movie star one day. Or yeah, it's just
Yeah,
so interesting.
totally. Yeah, I think my kid came in the room and we had to turn that's what it was. I didn't fall asleep.
Okay.
My youngest came in and we're like, "Okay, we gotta watch something else."
I was
But
gonna say that's not like a fall asleep movie.
yeah, no, it's no, it was my son came in and
Yeah.
we only have one TV in our house and and that's because of my wife. Like I would have one for my kids gaming, one for like but
Yeah.
she's like, "Meh," and I'm like, "Okay," because I do whatever she says basically. So
I like that. Yeah.
but yeah. Well, dude, you ready to I could actually talk to you forever, man, but
I know, I know. Yeah, so do you like, should I just go lie down on the couch? Should I put the computer near the couch too? Or like, what's the best way for you?
that's it, dude. You got it.
Okay. Is it helpful for you to like see anything, or I'll just like, do you need to see me in the background or anything?
I don't have to, but I kind of like it. But it's
Cool.
obviously not necessary.
Yeah. No, we can do that. I'll go bring it over. And it is very synchronistic too to do it this week. This has been like a very big healing week for me and also very shadowy at the same time.
What
So
do you mean by that?
I've just been noticing I had some really um kind of deep healing experiences, and I can just tell it's a big stage in my life that I'm transitioning into. And I've noticed my addictions and kind of like my shadow sides that don't want that coming in very strongly in opposition to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. They have to fight for their survival, dude.
Totally. And they die hard.
We're not trying to kill them. What we're
Right.
trying to do is trying to give them a hug, let them know they'll always be there. But we're just going to choose something else. It's like it's kind of like back to that one thing you said. When you go against something, you're almost creating more of it. And so it's a fine line between accepting those addictions and yeah, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
that's
will see what
exactly.
happens, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like with any of this stuff, it's always no attachment, no expectation, anything.
Yeah. Do you usually feel things when you have a session with somebody?
Um, yeah, there's. I'm feeling my channel more lately open up, but I just think back to the last time I did this with the group session, how much I felt it and how much I was like just surprised by that.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
yeah, we'll
See
see.
what happens, man.
Yeah, so I'll
Okay,
just
bro.
lie down.
I'll go for 30 minutes.
Oh man, that was lovely.
Do you have any sensations?
Yeah, it's like just being like bathed internally, just up and down, and just different parts at different times. My brain, I felt like, was getting worked on. My teeth, even, um, it was just like cycling back from my toes up to my head, and then it was feeling it in my hands. Um, and at certain points, it would get really tight, like my eyelids would clench, and it was almost like, yeah, just drawing energy up through like the perineum, like up through my channels, up into my brain. Yeah, just feeling very very vibrational right now.
Nice. Let's see if you can
Yeah,
feel those in your hands. So kind of
yeah.
have palms facing palms. Can you feel those?
Hmm.
Dude, you should be able to feel these from now on, dude.
That's what
Like
I'm feeling during it too.
like you totally should be able to feel these.
I was gonna ask you, when you do you always feel these, or is it just when you sit down and like have the intention of doing a session they show up? Or
No, I always feel them. Like I have
yeah.
to place my awareness on them,
Hmm.
but it takes like a hundredth of a second. Like
Okay.
it's always there. It's just a matter of going, okay, yep, it's there. Yep.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So um, but then they will come on and force my attention on them
Hmm.
when I'm in certain situations.
Hmm.
It's always there. It's always there for everybody.
Mm.
And it's just a matter of us learning to dial into that specific channel at will.
Yeah, that's when I'm calling in and desiring is that, yeah, because I can feel it right now. It's like kind of,
What does it feel like?
it almost feels like I'm holding like a ball of energy that's like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Do you feel anything in your palms, or is it like your whole hand?
it's in my palms.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and my fingers.
So when you hold one hand
Uh-huh.
still and you move the other one, can you feel that movement in your other hand? So keep one hand still
Hmm.
and then move the other one. Can you feel that in the left hand?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Did it start right off the bat, or did it take a while to get going? Or
It started instantly, and at first it was like, and then it kind of like relaxed a little bit, and then it was just like just flowing up and down. And I was remembering dreams that I had last night
mm,
that came back very clearly, two particular people. And I was like, whoa, am I supposed to reach out to them? Because they were very vividly in my dream last night, and I totally forgot about that. Um, so that was kind of interesting. And yeah, there was just a lot of movement, like up and down here, up and down this like channel.
were
Um,
your legs twitching, or was like I saw some type of movement? I didn't know if it was like your muscles flexing or like what.
that's what it was. It was like flexing. It was like it was, they were like tightening up, like as the energy was coming up. It was like, and I like had to remember to breathe, because when I didn't breathe, that's when it would get really like intense. And then when I
That's
took a breath in, it would like relax it. But if I let it myself just sit there without any breath, it was like a lot of flexing going on.
yeah. That's like the perfect metaphor for life, like right there. Um,
Mhm,
yeah, that's a really because when all these channelers talk about being in the flow, and
mhm.
like Abraham, she's always like, you swim upstream or you can swim downstream or you can float downstream. It's it's that resistance we have to the flow of life is what creates all of our misery, dude. Like this is supposed to be easy. This is
Yep.
supposed to be flowing. I know people think that you're supposed to like it's not supposed to be easy. I mean, we're hardwired, man. No pain, no gain. That's bullshit. Like
Mm,
literally, I mean, if you want to build muscles, that's probably appropriate. You
right.
have to break your muscles down before they build up. But dude, not in life, not in relationships. You know what I mean? Like not in that type of thing, dude. Uh yeah, I think we're programmed to like,
Oh, it goes so deep with that. Just the struggle, right? The
yeah,
survival, the fight or flight is so like rooted into us that it doesn't even seem possible to go through the flow of life and just like going down with being on the river and just letting life take you where it wants you to go and
yeah.
having it just be like very easeful.
Totally. I mean, everybody talks about, dude, like the Hopi Indians, my favorite. Uh, that's all they talk about. Like Eckhart Tolle, um, he says, dude, the first thing you have to do when your life's all fucked up and you're stuck, God damn it. Hold on.
The bat phone.
Dude, I just let it go. I thought I had it on mute,
It's all
but
good.
but like Eckhart Tolle says, like the first thing you have to do is just completely accept where you're at. Let
Mm,
go of all like resistance. Then you can get out of the shit. He goes,
Yeah.
but if you're in this shit and you're all tense and you're resisting it, dude, you're trapping yourself in that hamster wheel of experiences of the same shit over and over. And he's absolutely right, man. You have to you can't deny the now. You have to accept
Yeah.
exactly what you're feeling, exactly what's happening, exactly, and then you can get in the flow. But you're not going to get in the flow unless you accept like what's happening, man.
Yeah.
So I think those are beautiful metaphors.
I'm glad that you said the ease part of it, because that was like the biggest teaching I got from this nature retreat I was just on. That the earth, Pachamama, was like, it could be so much easier than what you're doing. You're
Yeah.
making
Yeah,
it
yeah,
so hard for no reason. Like that's not even you. That's just an addiction to struggle. That's all it is.
totally.
Not,
It's
not
just
what it's
programming,
supposed to
man.
be.
It's just that's we and even in like when I was taught how to do this, they're always saying that, you have to charge. You
Hmm.
have to charge people because if you do the same exact thing for free, dude, they
Yeah.
won't accept it.
Yeah.
They because nothing's for free. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're literally programmed to believe that nothing good is for free, when actually, you know, the best things in life are free.
Mhm.
So it's yeah, it's weird. It's weird how we're
Can I share something that's like there because I
sure.
think where I've maybe struggled with the energy stuff in the past, like with Reiki, and I've had times in the psilocybin experiences where like it's just pouring through and it's like and it's wild and it's like very shamanic.
Yeah,
And then other times it's like nothing. It's like I can feel it, it's there, but like nothing's really happening. And so I think there's like this expectation almost of every time it's got like I'm expecting something to happen and I'm waiting for something to happen.
yeah,
Then when it doesn't, I'm like, oh, it's not working.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
get up
yeah, yeah.
here
Totally, totally. I mean, how many times you taking mushrooms?
like 100 in
Yeah, yeah,
my life, probably. Yeah.
yeah. And they're all different, right?
Every time.
Yep, every time, every time.
But more recently, it's been like when I do it by myself, it's like the channeling comes through. I start singing in light language. I start speaking in this native thing I've never heard before. And it's just, I can feel the river pouring through my crown chakra, and I'm just totally out of the way. And it's just,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and I feel like that's available without that, even. And that's what I'm really interested in, is like being able to tune into that more.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that's available all the time. Um,
No, yeah, not like the crazy.
like, I'm not
No,
sure, I'm not sure that's available all the time.
no,
And
no, no,
actually,
definitely not.
if you were like that, this is something that I took me a while to realize. But when I did this personal reconnection for myself, like
Yeah.
something happened to me, and for probably 2 weeks, the veil was gone. Like
Mm-mm.
the veil, I felt this unbelievable love and connectedness to everything. Dude, I can't function like that. Nobody would be, I would help nobody like that. People would run from me if I was in that state. So
Yeah.
when you take psilocybin and you experience that, it's absolutely beautiful. But we're not supposed to live like that. Like that, because we do live like that when we're not here. You know what I mean? And the reason we come here is to experience, this feeling of this illusion of separation. Um,
So
so
true.
it was kind of a because when that happened to Eckhart Tolle, like that experience lasted for like 2 or 3 years for him, and I'm sure he still is in a very blissful state, but it's not that state that he was in. And It's probably because it was time for him to start teaching. And, because when that was happening, all he wanted to do was sit on a fucking bench and just like look around.
Enjoy it. Yeah.
So, you know, um, so you're saying you do take psilocybin sometimes and nothing happens and you feel like it's not working, or like,
Well, not with me. It always does it with me when it's just me, but when I'm doing it with other people and like I'm intending on that energy to come through to do some
yeah,
healing work
yeah,
with them, sometimes it's not there nearly as much, and then I'll
yeah,
just do kind of like Reiki type stuff, but then other times it's like
yeah.
and it's like full blown galactic and
Welcome to my world.
yeah.
I've learned all we can do is open the door, and what they do is none of our business.
Mhm.
Like if they're ready and they jump through and they have this galactic crazy awakening, cool. And
Mhm.
if they don't and they experience nothing and have a fucking headache, hey, cool. Like like we do our thing. And you can't, I mean, I wish we could make people have those experiences because it'll change your life forever. But they're not ready for it. And you can't make somebody ready for it. I mean, you don't even know why they're coming to you. I mean, they might be coming to you with the mindset, nothing can help me. And so you provided a valuable experience when nothing happened for them, because that proved them right. And that's what they needed. They needed to be proved right to them.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, definitely don't take any of that shit personal. Um, and you know, like if I had like 6 sessions in the same day, um, I could have two people come in and practically levitate, and then the next person comes in and they feel absolutely nothing. And then, I'm just like, dude, what is going on? Like,
Uh-huh.
how come it didn't work? Well, it did work, just not in the way that we anticipated it working.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm really glad to hear you say that, A, and B, because it's very relatable for me. And so thanks for that. And one of the things that kind of came through, because I was just intrigued because I'm like, I feel like my receptivity to these energies is really like I allow that a lot. And one of the kind of intuitive things coming in was like, you've already been tuned to these frequencies. You've already like had the big but like this was basically like a really nice energetic bath and cleanser. And like at one point I felt very emotional, like I thought I was going to start bawling my eyes out,
mhm.
because I touched that God energy, that God love,
Yep.
and it made me super emotional. And I started being like, I miss you. I just want to come back to that. I don't want to
Yep.
be here.
Yep.
And then I could see it for what it was, and it was like it's like I'm always here, but like
Yep.
you got to feel this. And
It's kind of like a
yeah,
near death experience, because
yeah,
anybody that has near death experience, like, I don't want to fucking go back. And
yeah,
like, no, dude, you got to go back.
you gotta.
You got some stuff to do. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, dude. So send me an email, um, and we'll do a podcast if you want, and
That would be awesome. I would love that.
see what happens.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And see whatever seeds that wants to plant too. So
Cool, man. We'll see what
yeah.
happens. Something's going to happen. Something, I don't know, but we'll see.
Uh-huh. I feel that too. I'm just like, all right,
Yeah,
whatever that wants to be, but there's big stuff happening right now. I can feel it in the field.
there's no better time to be alive, dude.
No.
no better time. This is it.
Mhm.
This is the fucking World Series, World Cup, Super Bowl. This is it, dude. This is the big show, and we got front row seats with the
We
V.
went through a lot of shit to get here, you know? Like, we laid down a lot of railroad tracks in the other lifetimes to get to this one.
Yeah, I feel like I've been training my forever to be here at this moment right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like enjoying it, and like I don't know, I just think that this is just I got my little floaty raft and I'm floating down the river and looking around to see who's floating with me, and we'll see
Yeah,
we'll see where it takes us.
yeah. We're on the same river, man. I'm just like, I
Same
see
river,
you
bro.
watching, like, yo, Case, good to
Oh, it's
see you on here,
beautiful.
man.
That's beautiful, man.
It's getting kinda crazy up in here. Got that DJ playing music everybody wants to hear, yeah. It's getting kinda crazy up in here. Everybody wants a ride in the